In 1889, when the Wilbur Lumber Company burned down, Grays Lake realized they needed to have a fire department, and the first fire truck was named Wilbur after the company.
When the station first started, they used pails, hooks, and ladders to put out the fires.
When the first fire department was built, firefighters volunteered. There were bells located on the gelatin factory in the village hall to notify firefighters when they would be on duty. Local residents recall crowds of people following trucks.
Because the fire station was all volunteer work when it first opened, they held an annual dance. On February 6, 1901 was the first one. It was $1 each to get in, and 116 tickets were sold.
The fire department used to be all volunteer. When did that change?
I believe it was 1979 that they hired their first full-time member, and that was Don Mobley. And he went on to become the fire chief. In the late 1980s was when they started adding more full-time firefighters.
How has the equipment changed over time?
When I started back in 1994, all of our trucks and equipment have all changed since then, with the exception of two. Our tanker, which is a big 4,000-gallon water tanker truck, that is from 1985, so that was here. And then one of our reserve engines is a 1991 pumper. And those are the only two remaining from when I started 21 years ago. So all of our equipment, all of our trucks have all been updated and changed over the years. Something interesting about, like for instance, with your fire engines, they used to be, back in the old days, you'd have two guys riding up front and two guys would be riding on the back, holding on to that back bar, holding on for dear life going down the road. Well, unfortunately, a lot of guys got hurt doing that. They would fall off and get hurt. So then the standards changed to, we're gonna have you sit up front. So they ended up putting seats in right behind where the driver sits. They put two more seats, and those are called jump seats, and they were open so in the cab, so that when they got to the fire, they could easily jump out and go start fighting the fire. Well, even then with fire truck accidents, if they were to roll over those guys in those jump seats, they would still end up falling out and getting hurt. So now everything, they've gone to completely closed cabs in all of our engines. So if there is a rollover accident, they're still safe inside the vehicle. They're not going to get thrown from it. And now the new engines, they won't even move if people aren't seatbelted in. So
we have 3 fire stations in Grays Lake. Why is that?
For the longest time, we had just this one fire station. But again, as the community grew, there was a greater need for having more coverage. Initially, we put our second fire station on Braylock Road over by the College of Lake County. That opened up in 2004. And that was really to serve all of our residents on the eastern part of our district, which includes things like Wildwood and Gages Lake. Many times with these trains going across, when we just had the one station, if something happened in that part of the district, it could really be a long time before we could get help to them. So that was really the thought of having that station over there. And interestingly enough, the very first week that station was opened by the College of Lake County, they actually had one of the teachers had a heart attack there and went unresponsive, and because the station was so close, they were there like within a minute, and they actually got a save. They brought the guy back, which was huge. So just in the first week that station was open, ended up being really beneficial. And then as time went on, further to the southwest portion of our fire district, we have Saddlebrook Farm, which is a huge senior citizen development, over 1,000 houses and still growing. And as as people get older, they have more need for our services. And going from here all the way down there, just in and of itself, is like a 6 or 7 minute trip.
Who was Chief Rockenbach, and why was he so influential in the development of the Grays Lake Fire Department?
Chief Rockenbach worked with the Grays Lake Fire Department for 48 years. He was very dedicated to the town of Grays Lake and its safety. He helped implement the paramedic system in the 1960s and was the first fire chief accepted into the International Fire Chief Association. It was a very prestigious award given countrywide. He was very important to the station because he saw a lot of development over his years there.
How do you think the fire department impacts our society today?
I believe that our fire department gives the people of Grays Lake a sort of sense of security and safety.
How long do you think a firefighter takes to get ready?
10 minutes, 5 minutes.
Yeah, 1-2 seconds probably.
Get ready. Our goal is usually to get all of our stuff on, all of our turnout gear, and get on the rig and be out the door in less than a minute.